These are the 4 must-use Town Hall 13 attacks that you need to use in Clash of Clans. Let's start with the Skeleton Donut LavaLoon. This is a really unique variation. Basically, you are always trying to look for 2 specific things, whether this be the CC and Inferno or CC and Scattershot. In this case, the attacker uses the Earthquake alongside the 3 skeleton spells and the 3 invisibility spells underneath the Rage spell in order to remove both the Inferno and the Clan Castle. This, in theory, removes the entire core. Now, you have extremely easy pathing. Of course, it really depends on how buildings are placed. Typically, these are the most optimal, but it really depends on where the CC and that building that you want to remove, such as the Inferno or Scattershot, out of the way. In this case, the attacker decides on bringing in a Flame Flinger. This is able to remove, in theory, this entire area, which then allows you to use your heroes to go down for something like the Town Hall. This offers even more value and support as you work yourself in. Having the heroes to remove the Town Hall is an incredibly helpful situation that will help you in most cases. All in all, you just really want to make sure that what you're doing is expanding on the value. You could bring in the use of the Royal Champion at any given point if you want to provide even more support, or even set it in with your LavaLoon. But once you've got a good pathway set from your Flame Flinger, if you decide on bringing it, your heroes, and your Skelly Donut, you can then start your LavaLoon portion. Now, in some cases, bringing in the use of an Ice Hound is really good, especially since it has 10,000 HP. So you can use in balloons to go right behind. Usually you want to use 3 to 4 groups of balloons, and you want to make sure that you're sending in a good wave of them as they move themselves through. So having another Lava Hound there to soak up damage early on, and it will pop, will allow you to still succeed. You should use Headhunters if you're dealing with the enemy Archer Queen or enemy Royal Champion if you didn't remove them with your heroes. If you did, then you may not want to bring them, but you should still bring them to deal with the enemy heroes if you didn't remove either of them. Other than that, you do want to use the haste spells to get to buildings such as the Inferno Towers, Air Defenses, Wizard Towers, Scatters, etc. a lot quicker. Now, if you have the Royal Champion with you, then that might not mean too much. Other than that, cleanup is relatively easy. Just use minions. You'll have Lava Pups and Ice Pups if you bring an Ice Hound, and you should be easily good to go for a 3-star, which is why this is one of my more favorite Town Hall 13 attacks, as well as definitely really, really strong. Now, one of my personal favorite armies is the Yetis and Super Bowler Smash. This is a box base that you'll see at Town Hall 14, which just goes to show that Super Bowlers are incredibly strong right now. Basically, let's start with a Grand Warden Wand. Similarly to any other type of funnel, you're just going to really take your time with this. You can speed it up with the use of wizards if you want, but other than that, just let it take its time. You're going to create the other side of the funnel with the use of the Barbarian King alongside the Siege Barrack. You can bring in the use of Super Wall Breakers in order to open up walls on the base in order to make it easier for you to not have to use a jump spell so soon. So what you want to be able to make sure that you're doing, though, is creating enough of a funnel. So one side of the funnel being done with your Grand Warden, the other side being done with your King and your Siege Barrack, really offers really good support so you can drive everything straight through the middle. The nicest part about Super Bowlers is they have a much larger bounce range, which means that they're a little bit better in most situations. In this case here, using the gold storage as an aggro, you can then move in with your Super Bowlers and Yetis for other different buildings. As you can see from here, using the 2 Super Wall Breakers allows him to use a jump spell in the core with the Grand Warden ability, and allowing you to use the Hog Riders with the use of the Royal Champion is another incredibly good option. You just really want to make sure that what you're doing is you are letting your Super Bowlers continue to work on around the base. You should use the Rage spells to push them through the core and to make sure that they're dealing a ton of damage. Other than that, you will still have the heal spell for the Hog Riders, you have the Royal Champion as well, and the Super Bowlers themselves will be able to crush the Town Hall, so it really won't be that bad. So you really just want to make sure that what you're doing with this army is going from one side of the base to the other. You should have access to the key buildings like the scatter shots that were on these two corners or at these two intervals. You should try to really focus on getting rid of the town hall, scatters, and inferno towers as quickly as possible. That will more cement you getting a 3-star than others, but this is a great army that you'll want to use. Now, who doesn't like a good old Queen Charge Dragon Riders? This is still a very strong army. One variation is using a log launcher instead of using the traditional battle blimp or stone slammer. The reason that you would ever want to use a log launcher with this army is if you can remove the walls in place where you can get a lane for your Queen Charge. That's it. That's all your log launcher is there for. Just to create a lane. The other side of the funnel can be done by using the Barbarian King if you can remove that area. If you can't, the Dragon Riders can easily take care of it. But the Queen Charge is the first main thing. Try to funnel her with the use of Sneaky Goblins, Baby Dragons. They're going to help you. And then you should try to keep her alive. The balloons are really good at soaking up any seeking air mines, especially early on. And then you will want to use a log launcher as you move into the base with your Queen Charge. This should be one of your major things to do early on. Dealing with the enemy queen, of course, is always going to be incredibly important. You can get more value by using your Royal Champion to also continue to clear more buildings and possibly even remove the enemy heroes. As your queen has a very steady lane to move into the base, and the Royal Champion was able to clear a little bit more from it, it allows you to then send the Dragon Riders into this area of the base, and it makes it very simple. That is really simple stuff. So being able to use the Dragon Riders, as they don't really need much spell support outside of maybe free spells, it does help. Try to save at least one Headhunter though if you are going to be dealing with an enemy hero. It just makes it so much easier. Just want to make sure that what you're doing though with this Dragon Riders is they have very easy pathing to work themselves through, so they don't have to really worry about too much. They do a lot of damage and they're really strong, so you want to make sure that you are using your invincibility from your Grand Warden as good as possible so you can get the most from it. Other than that, the cleanup, which is the minions, you should be using right after certain intervals, such as in a Lalo attack, but this is a little easier than a Lalo. So this should allow you to get a simple 3-star. It just really depends on the base, especially if you're using the log launcher. Now, another fantastic army that you might want to use is going to be the use of the hybrid. Hybrid is always a tried and true method, and really you should never really ignore it. But one of the biggest things for starters is creating the funnel for your Queen Charge. Typically, you want to send a Queen Charge in for wherever the enemy CC is, and if you can remove the Town Hall, that's even better. You just want to make sure that you are at least removing the enemy Clan Castle troops. Other than that, anything else is free game. The Town Hall is usually a big threat, so you do want to try and prioritize it. Other than that, you can send your hybrid in for it, but usually that's not ideal. So try to Queen Charge in for the Town Hall and for the Clan Castle troops. Other than that, you just want to use a rage spell to prepare yourself to deal with them, as if you do not do that, the Headhunters might give you some problems, or whatever CC troops will give you some problems. So you do want to make sure that you're doing that. Use any free spells if necessary to provide as much support as possible, but just keep your queen raged up if she is getting low on HP, or just you continue to use free spells. Other than that, you should start to create the other side of the funnel once you clear through the CC and the Town Hall. You just want to make sure that you're using the Barbarian King alongside the Siege Barrack in order to create one side of the funnel. You can even bring a Super Wall Breaker if you want them to go into the base. But overall, you just want to make sure that you've got a very simple lane for your hybrid to move straight through. That way they have some very simple pathing to continue to work themselves downwards. So you can use in the Miners, then the Grand Warden, and then the Hog Riders. As you're continuously pushing in, you should have your Royal Champion to move alongside her. Try to use a early heal spell, which will provide a lot of support. Using maybe Headhunters if you want to remove enemy heroes a little bit easier. And you just want to use that Grand Warden ability right after that first heal. That allows you to now use a second heal towards the back end of the base. It gives you much more flexibility, especially if there is a lot of splash buildings left, like the Inferno and the Scattershot. So it gives you enough momentum to drive through. You should easily be able to clean up the base. You should have either cleanup troops, wizards, or still hogs and miners still up, which will allow you to easily get through the rest of the base. Other than that, it's a very simple army with some very simple base identification that you can easily use to your advantage to get more 3 stars. Now, if you are a Town Hall 12 or you have a Town Hall 12 account, consider checking out my previous video on the 3 best Town Hall 12 attacks that you will want to use for the clan war leagues. And I will be catching you guys in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.